Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd says an illegal immigrant enslaved and sexually abused a child for years. Yeah, this is a tough one. Now he's facing upgraded felony charges.
The suspect is Alfaro Jimenez, a laborer who Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd says entered the U.S. illegally in 2019. He brought a young girl with him while her mother stayed in Guatemala. And Judd says for 3 years between ages 12 and 15, the child was a prisoner as he sexually battered her. The child eventually called 911 and was taken to a hospital for examination. She's currently in DCF custody. Jimenez faces several charges, including sexual battery and child abuse. Though because of a new state law and his illegal status, his criminal charges were bumped up 1 degree. He says the goal of this new legislation is to hold criminals accountable.
What's important to understand here is don't commit crime first and foremost. And get out, go southbound and down, self-deport. If you're a criminal in here, you're ultimately going to be locked up in our jail and prison system.
The investigation is ongoing, and the sheriff says there may be more criminal charges.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being with me today. What I'm going to discuss with you is a snapshot of a very horrible event that's going on all over this country by illegal aliens. And the state of Florida has a brand new law to help deal with that. That still doesn't help our victim. Let me introduce you to Alvaro Jimenez. He's 32 years of age, and he lives in Mulberry. He's a day laborer. He came into this country illegally in 2019. After he entered the country illegally, he registered with ICE and was following their directions until about 2021, and that's when he quit cooperating and ICE lost track of him. When he entered this country, he entered with who was at that time a very young child. And the child's mother did not enter the country. He had access to this child. So let me go back to the last 3 years. The child was between the ages of 12 and 15 years of age when he began to sexually batter the child. He refused to enroll her in school. He kept her segregated. She had no social life. He didn't want her in an environment where she could tell anyone anything. And quite frankly, it was a challenge because she is from Guatemala, he is from Guatemala, and she speaks a Mam language, which is a native Mayan language for the Guatemala people. As we have done our interviews with her, there's still investigation to do. We're trying to focus on someone who can speak this Mayan language more clearly so we can get more details. So obviously we want to bring more charges if we can. But for 3 years, the child was not in school, she was not socialized, she couldn't speak English, she was a prisoner, and this guy was sexually battering her. She dialed 911, and we went to rescue her, and that's exactly what we did. He is charged with a series of significant felonies, but I'm going to speak to the 3 third-degree felonies he was charged with, now have been bumped up to a second-degree felony because of the new law that Speaker of the House, Danny Perez, President of the Senate, Ben Albritton, and ultimately Governor DeSantis signed. Because of this, he's going to be held to a higher level of accountability. But the sexual battery, which was already a first-degree felony on a child, has now been bumped up to a life felony. Now, I want to give you a snapshot here. That child should have never been sexually abused, should have never been violated, should never been held enslaved so she couldn't freely live in society. Should not have happened. but it shouldn't have happened in the United States of America. So we're going to deal appropriately with this guy through our criminal justice system. But I want to underscore here, for those who are doing the hand wringing and oh my goodness, and you know, the illegal aliens aren't a problem, and yes, some of them, a few of them, are a big problem. And guess who's going to pay for his keep for arguably the rest of his life if he's convicted as charged? The taxpayers of the state of Florida. But you can duplicate this thousands upon thousands upon thousands of times across the United States with some form of felony charges. I do want to tell you that ICE is working very, very close with us. They confirmed his illegal status, and they have gone above and beyond. It is amazing when the administration changes and the new administration says, time out. We're over illegal aliens in this country victimizing people in this country. And that's what happened here. I am thankful for our governor, our Speaker of the House, President of the Senate, who passed this new law so that we can upgrade these charges. And we are forwarding those upgraded charges to the state attorney's office. The investigation is still ongoing, and there very well may be more criminal charges as this rolls out. Is there any questions?
Case in Polk County where you upgraded charges like
This is the first case in Polk County where we've upgraded the charges as a result of the very new law that passed. Maybe it's the new one in the first in the state of Florida. I don't know, but I know it's the first in Polk County.
I'm very glad that this sexual deviant is off the streets. And you can believe down there in Polk County, they're going to stretch this boy out. They don't play that down there. Yeah, I can guarantee you he's looking at a life sentence messing with Grady Judd and the rest of his henchmen down there in Polk County. Trust me and believe me, he won't be seeing the streets for a very long time. Next up, we have this sexual deviant right here who felt that he could take advantage of a 15-year-old in a stairwell. Let's get into his rotten story.
The Bronx man who allegedly raped a teenage girl now faces years behind bars. Kazmine Aska, who was walked out of the 45th precinct in the Bronx by detectives earlier today, authorities say he raped a 15-year-old girl Thursday night inside Co-op City. He's been charged with rape in the first degree. If convicted, he could be sentenced to up to 25 years in prison.
Well, that sounds like a fantastic place for a derelict like this, you know. Our kids are safer in the streets. You know, our women are safer in the streets. You know, our little boys are safer in the streets. He looks like he'll take a little boy as well. But let's dive a little deeper. He just got out of prison. Let's see what he just got out for.
This incident happened just a month after he was released from prison, where he had served 8 years for a serious crime. Back in 2013, Aska was convicted of attempted murder for pushing a 9-year-old boy off a rooftop after sexually assaulting him.
Told you.
The boy fell from a 5-story building and was left in a coma, but he eventually survived after being placed on life support. According to police reports, the recent attack took place on a Thursday at an apartment complex located at 140 Bellamy Loop in Co-op City. Aska reportedly confronted the girl in an elevator and then forced her into a stairwell, where he raped her. He was arrested the following night and is now facing charges of first-degree rape. Aska's past is troubling. He was released on parole on January 30th, just a month before the latest incident. His previous conviction involved a horrific act where he threw the young boy off the roof after the child threatened to tell someone about the abuse. The boy's family was devastated by the incident, and his grandfather expressed hope for the boy's recovery at the time. In addition to the attempted murder charge, Aska faced several other charges related to the 2013 crime, including sexual abuse and acting in a way that harmed a child. He has a history of multiple arrests for various offenses, including resisting arrest and menacing. There are also indications that he may have used different names in connection with his past crimes. The community is understandably shaken by these events, as they highlight the dangers posed by individuals who have committed serious offenses and are released back into society. The police are continuing their investigation, and many are calling for stricter measures to prevent such incidents from happening again.
And hopefully the Bronx children and women and boys of that neighborhood don't have to see this coward now day again of their lives. I'm pretty sure New York gonna deal with this joker the way they should. Until next time. Thank you for watching Prime Crime Network, your source for urban and suburban and around the world news. Hit the subscribe, like, and the notification bell